NAACP President Rachel Dolezal is now back in the headlines. This time she's accused of doing something that could land her behind bars. Thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Stephanie Vigil. Fresh off her Netflix documentary, Rachel Dolezal is under scrutiny once again. This time, alleged welfare fraud. KHQ local news reporter Peter Maxwell broke the story. And Peter, how much is Dolezal accused of stealing from the state?
Well, Steph, according to court documents, Rachel Dolezal owes the state of Washington close to $9,000 in restitution for defrauding the state out of food assistance and child assistance funds. Dolezal, who legally changed her name to Nkechi Diallo in 2016, now stands accused of first-degree theft by welfare fraud, perjury in the second degree, and false verification for public assistance. According to the case file obtained by KHQ, the investigation began in March of 2017 when the DSHS Office of Fraud and Accountability Investigator received information that Diallo had written a book that got published. The investigator says he heard Diallo say she was getting public assistance, but also knew that a typical publishing contract included payments of $10,000 to $20,000. The investigator dug further and found that Diallo had been reporting her income as usually less than $500 per month in child support payments. At one point, according to the court documents, when asked as to how she was paying her bills, she reported, quote, barely with the help from friends and gifts. However, according to the case file, bank records turned over by Diallo showed that she had deposited about $83,924 into her bank account in several monthly installments during the time she was getting assistance, income that investigators say was not reported to the Department of Social and Health Services. With documents in hand, we made a visit to Dolezal today. She answered the door. Hi, Rachel. You've been accused of welfare fraud. I have the documents right here. I'm Peter Maxwell. I'm a reporter with KHQ Local News. Do you have time to talk to us? You don't? Do you have an attorney that we could talk to? Can you talk to us? I also left my card at her home and tried to contact her again by phone this afternoon, all to no avail. While she didn't want to talk to us, Diallo did voluntarily come in for an interview with fraud investigators last month. But when questioned about possible discrepancies in her income reporting, Diallo stated she fully disclosed her information and asked what discrepancies. Diallo then told the investigator that she, quote, did not have to answer any more questions since she had not waived her Miranda rights, which ended that interview. And Diallo is expected to be in court June 6th for an arraignment where she'll either plead guilty or not guilty to the crimes.
Peter, how much prison time could she be facing?
You know, Stephanie, the state takes welfare fraud very seriously, and under the RCW, the penalty is up to 15 years in prison plus full financial restitution. In the newsroom tonight, I'm Peter Maxwell, KHQ Local News.
All right, Peter, thank you. Well, the story obviously doesn't end here. We have linked all of our past coverage on Rachel Dolezal to our website. Just look for the story on KHQ.com.
This is Q6 Local News at 6. Right now. Breaking now.
The man began walking towards the officers, and shots were fired at that time. Officers began emergency life-saving measures immediately, and unfortunately that suspect did not survive his injuries.
One man is dead after an officer-involved shooting in North Spokane, and right now several blocks of Monroe Street remain closed. Good evening, I'm Stephanie Vigil. Today's incident, one in more than a week-long string of incidents where law enforcement officers have faced off against volatile suspects. KHQ's Peter Maxwell was first on scene, and Peter, you were able to get exclusive video showing the lead up to this shooting.
Yes, Steph, that is correct. But as you can imagine, that video is extremely graphic, and we have just learned that that man is dead. But this is a freeze frame from that exclusive video taken by a witness. You see the man who was shot on the right of your screen and the officer who opened fire with his gun up on the left. But as we zoom in here, I want you to see something. The man shot is holding something long in his right hand. Witnesses described it to me as a long blade, and police described it as a knife. The video also shows the man appears to be quickly moving towards the officers, and he finally opens fire when the man is about 5 feet away. Witnesses say they called officers after the man ran into the middle of the street yelling and swearing. Officers were actually already in the area looking for that man because they'd received an earlier call saying he'd threatened to shoot someone. So officers got on scene quickly, and as they did, he ran into a grocery store at Monroe and Fairview. Witnesses say he left the grocery store and started walking toward the officers with that knife or blade in his hand. And here's one witness describing what he saw.
I was in a meeting and I had heard sirens and I heard a couple shots, and I came down, I went to my house, grabbed her, and we walked down here, and then we heard a couple more, so all in all we heard 4 shots. And I've been hearing from other people that the guy had a knife or a baton, definitely no firearm.
Yeah, and again, between Cleveland and Frederick and Monroe, it is closed due to obviously a lot of police activity still. They're going to be here for several hours, and police are asking anyone who is in the area to avoid the area for the next several hours. We're just actually at the base of the hill from the Garland district, so if you are going out tonight, please avoid the area if you can. Reporting in North Spokane, I'm Peter Maxwell, KHQ Local News.
All right, Peter, thank you.
This is KHQ Local News at 5 right now. Breaking now.
We begin tonight tracking breaking news. A 17 and 14-year-old have been arrested and accused of luring a teen and his girlfriend to an area north of Spokane and trying to kill them. Good evening. I'm Claire Graham in for Dan and Stephanie. This actually happened last week, but KHQ's Peter Maxwell just got word about it from the sheriff's office. Peter?
And Claire, it's a wild story involving attempted murder, knives, and machetes, all at the hands of kids. Now that 17 and 14-year-old are currently locked up here at the Spokane Juvenile Detention Center, and police say this all happened on September 21st at around 11 p.m. Now, police say that the victim and his girlfriend were in a car with those teen suspects and the 2 kids between 11 and 13 years old. They drove to an empty area of North Wild Rose Road, and then the 17 and 14-year-old stopped the car and attacked the other teen with a machete. The victim pulled out his own knife and started slashing back, telling his girlfriend to run. He then also took off, leaving the 14-year-old behind with serious stab wounds. Now take a look at this picture that the sheriff's office sent along. This is a door handle on the car they were in, and you can see that there is blood everywhere. And as for why this happened, the sheriff's office says that the girlfriend had previously dated the 17-year-old, and that this may have been a jilted lover's situation. We'll keep you updated on this story. Reporting in Spokane, I'm Peter Maxwell, KHQ Local News. Crime can come in all colors of the rainbow. Though it looks like candy, this is a record amount of the illegal party drug ecstasy. 300 pounds of pills taken in a single bust. The street value estimated at more than $9 million. But this haul didn't come from the streets. It was found about 3 hours north of Spokane, stuffed into some backpacks left along a little used dirt trail in one of the most remote parts of America. Welcome to the United States northern border. Welcome to the Slash.
So up here, you know, the terrain's a little more vast than you would see down south.
20 feet wide, 305 miles long, and that's just the Spokane sector where Border Patrol agent Zachary Crossan is in charge. Like the Slash, his job is pretty clear-cut: detect and prevent anything and anyone illegal from entering the country. Mother Nature helps.
The vast terrain, very rough terrain that we work in, it does limit the amount of entries that we get just with that natural barrier. Agents are a little more sparse. The manpower is not what it is up here as it is down south.
By sparse, we're talking only 44 officers, all of them a unique breed of law enforcer, willing to go to the extremes to uphold the law. Agent Justin Fox grew up just south of the Slash in the small town of Colville.
Everything you do is under a microscope because Colville is a tiny little town, and no matter what, if I go to the gas station, I know 5 people.
But being a local has its advantages.
If somebody has something to share, something that we would be interested in, like illegal activity or what have you, I think people are more comfortable coming to somebody that they know.
Those aren't the only extra set of eyes and ears the patrol relies on. Meet Zeus, Flint, Jeep, and finally Starsky.
Horse Patrol is a big asset here that we have at the station. It's something we run daily. It's in every part of our daily operations.
The horses are more than just the sure-footed transportation to hard-to-reach wilderness.
So we're checking various trails for any sign that anyone's been through there. Or anything out of the ordinary.
Horses are built to be natural detectives. They are particularly sensitive to motion and can see almost in pitch darkness, and their eyes are positioned so they have almost a 360-degree field of vision, something that agent and lead wrangler Dan Bales says can come in quite handy.
We've had guys wear camo. We've had guys blend in like they're hunting. They're going to try to sneak through the woods or come across with whatever they're bringing. So that's kind of the game.
From 2010 till present, agents on the northern border arrested 2,230 people from 45 different countries. 233 people were prosecuted in Idaho, Montana, and eastern Washington. Border Patrol participated in 362 seizures, ranging from illegal drugs, cash, cars, and guns. Yet the criminals are becoming increasingly creative in hopes of eluding the law. This smuggling operation took to using a helicopter to fly in their goods. So as for building a wall up here, Agent Frost would prefer to see more personnel than piles of concrete.
In general, any sort of infrastructure that we build, in and of itself, it doesn't do any good if it's not being defended by Border Patrol agents.
But such legislation is currently tangled up in the larger immigration reform debate. So until the political problem is solved.
You know, everybody wants that American dream of being able to grow up in a safe place, raise their kids in a safe environment. That's no different for us just because we don this uniform. It's just our responsibility to help make that happen.